Thank you very much for listening to this week's share on the Sedra of Miketz. We dedicate this learning to the safe and speedy release of all of the hostages and the safety and the success of all of the soldiers in the IDF as they are so fearlessly trying to achieve all of the results and the needs of the mission to make, please God, the people of Israel, all parts of Israel, be able to feel secure. And there are so many themes and lessons, as always, that we can take from this week's Sedra that are speaking to us exactly what we need to hear and try and feel as we navigate the challenges that we're facing now. And I would like to just correct something that was said in last week's talk, where the Sedra of Vayeshev is often read the Shabbos before Hanukkah. Sometimes it can be the Shabbos Hanukkah itself, as it has been this year, but actually most often it is Miketz that is read on Shabbos Hanukkah. And this year, unusually, it is not going to be Shabbos Hanukkah, because Hanukkah, the last day of Hanukkah, is going to be Friday. So when Shabbos comes in, it's no longer Hanukkah. So we will read the Haftorah of Miketz, which is very unusual because very often we will read the special Haftorah that is relevant on Hanukkah with the Sedra of Miketz. And it's so rare. It happens once every 19 or so years, once in a 19-year cycle, as it's happening this year. And according to a Balkore, the next time, according to somebody who lanes the Sedra, the next time that we will have this configuration where Miketz will not be Shabbos Hanukkah will be in the year 2040. So that is 17 years from now. And the idea that we are actually singing Ma'oz Tzor, we are celebrating the festival of Hanukkah this week. And the concept of Kates, which means end, is something that comes up often in the special song that we sing on Hanukkah, Ma'oz Tzor, and specifically looking at the last verse of Ma'oz Tzor, which is Chasof Zerah Kodshecha, bear your holy arm, v'korev Kates HaYeshua, and draw near, bring near the end of the salvation, hasten the end for salvation. And then it carries on after asking Hashem to speed up the salvation. Then we have this sigh, we have this groan that escapes, ki or chalanu hayeshua, because the salvation is long, it's too long delayed for us. Ve'ein kates limei hara, and there is no end to the days of evil. And I think that we can feel the resonances of the struggle of the festival of Hanukkah commemorates the struggle of the Jewish people to be able to practice the Torah in the land of Israel, free from Hellenist interference and restriction, and this idea that throughout our history we have been in periods of darkness, and we are longing for that Yeshua, that salvation. And really this is something that we are so fervently hoping for now, as we are engaged in a battle for our survival wherever we live, wherever Jewish people live. This is what we are facing really at the moment. And it is that sense of a historical perspective, a sense of trying to remedy and go forward to really, please God, be able to enjoy the end of that and look forward to the salvation that will come in the end. And so, although we're not going to be singing that song, when we read the Sedra of Miketz, the Sedra opens with this word, Vayihi Miketz Shenosayim Yomin, and that is chapter 41 in Bereshith, verse 1. And the very fact that it says Shinosayim Yomim is an unusual phrase, translated as 2 years to the day. Ufaro cholem v'hine omed al hayor. And Pharaoh was dreaming, and behold, he was standing on over the river, over the canal, as it's translated. And the what the it was at the end of 2 years. This is how we're beginning the Sedra. What at the end of 2 years of what? After what? And we are referred back because the Medrash says that the reason that Yosef had to spend an extra 2 years, these 2 years to the day that are referred to in our posuk, are the extra 2 years that Yosef had to spend in prison, because at the end of last week's Sedra, the Sedra of Vayeshev, when the Yosef prevails upon the butler to remember him to Paro when Yosef has predicted his the butler's release, and he asks him, please remember me and don't forget. And the Sedra of Vayeshev finishes chapter 40, verse 23. V'lo zochar sar hamashkim es Yosef vayishkochehu. And the chamberlain of the cupbearers, the butler, did not remember Joseph, and he forgot him. And so this is actually the Medrash says that the punishment came because Yosef was too reliant on the butler remembering and pleading on his behalf. And this was viewed as a lack of bitachon, which is translated often as trust. And interestingly enough, we have the word in modern Hebrew. It means almost security or a certainty, sure. If something is betach, if something is batuach, it's certain, it's sure. And as I said, bitachon is security, and this is something that is a fundamental part of the way of life. It's something that has all over the world has become so crucial, but in Israel for a long time, and especially this concept of bitachon. But when we think about our bitachon in Hashem, what do we mean by that, and how can we actually cultivate it, and what can we learn from Yosef, and that how did he get the balance so that he, on the one hand, had to make his efforts to try to get himself out of prison, yet at what point do those efforts mean that he is lacking in this faith in Hashem? And how do we navigate the challenges of our lives by having the right amount of faith in Hashem and understanding that this is going to actually empower us, yet on the other hand make the efforts that we need to make in order to achieve the goals that we believe are the right goals for us in our lives. And I think that if we understand this concept of bitachon as not a character trait, it's not something that you're necessarily born with. It's more a question of a state of mind, and this is a state of mind that you are focused on what you have to do, and you're not just going to sit back and say, Hashem will perform miracles and everything is from Hashem, and Hashem does perform miracles and everything is from Hashem. But equally, I need to invest my energy and I need to do my bit as well. But this state of mind of understanding that irrespective of my efforts, that I am placing my trust in Hashem, and that is going to enable me to access a much healthier, calmer place, because the anxiety that I experience when I think that it's all about everything that I do, and if I don't do this, and if I don't do this extra effort, and if I don't do something even over and above what I thought I had to do, then I will not achieve the result. There comes a point of knowing that whatever I do, then I am going to be able uh, to know that it is from Hashem, and I'm going to be able to have a sense of calmness, and that is going to enable me to function much better. And Yosef is the paradigm. He is the perfect example, because if you look at the trajectory of his life, and we'll see at the in the Sedra of Miketz, he is on his way up in terms of he's taken out of prison, he's standing before the fair Paro, and he's giving him the advice, and Paro is giving him the greatest compliment, giving him the greatest position that anybody could have, second to Paro, otherwise really practically an absolute ruler in the land of Egypt. But before he got to that place, he went through the most terrible traumas. He was from being a beloved, spoilt child, a child born in his father's old age. He endured the loss of his mother at a young age, but after that, his childhood seemed, as far as his father was concerned, very secure. And then he underwent the kidnap, the traumatic experience of the kidnap from at the hands of his brothers. And this is something that, in terms of Yosef's reactions to that traumatic event, which when we read about it in the Seder of Vayeshev, we actually didn't hear anything about Yosef's reactions. But when the brothers are talking in this week's Seder of Miketz, and they don't realize that Yosef is there, and he's understanding what they say, and they say all of this is happening to us when Yosef is acting very harshly towards them as the viceroy of Egypt. They don't recognize him, but he recognizes them, and he is, and they're saying it's because we didn't hear his cries when he begged us, when he pleaded with us, when he was in the pit. And we heard nothing of that in last week's Sedra. We just hear it in this week's Sedra. So this kidnap by his brothers and this absolute trauma that he experienced, and then going down, being taken down to Egypt in a caravan of Ishmaelites, Midianites, and then serving in Potiphar's house, and then being falsely imprisoned on a trumped up charge of something that he didn't do. Absolute traumas. So, in these dark points of his life, did he always have this bitachon, or is it something that, as he went through each of these challenges, which at the time were so all encompassing, that this was something that enabled him, that gave him an opportunity to cultivate this concept of reliance on Hashem in parallel with trying his best, with doing his best. For example, when he was in Potiphar's house, he adjusts to his new circumstances, and he makes the effort, and he works his way up there. And in prison as well, he is trying to look out to help people. He notices in last week's Sedra that the butler and the baker are downcast, and he therefore inquires after their welfare, and he tries to help them. And then when he is now in the Sedra of Miketz, trying to trying to give Paro the best advice that he can possibly give him, and he is at all points now, he is so humble, and he is just understanding that in his words, he'll say, it is not me who is the master interpreter of dreams. Yes, it's not me who's so incredibly talented and intelligent and intuitive. Biladai, it's got nothing to do with me. Hashem Yan Es Shalom Pharaoh. Hashem is going to answer, going to see to the welfare of Paro. And this is this living example of Bitachon. And it is arguably born in times of great challenge, in times of great difficulty, and it's something that is something that we have to work very hard on. But the rewards and the quality of life that we have is something that is enables us to cope and grow and understand what my place is in the world and how I can achieve this function. And I think that when we look at the word Miketz, we understand how that these two extra years were a lesson to Yosef when he was over reliant on human intervention in giving him what he needs. And then he gets that balance right when he realizes actually he has got to go to Hashem and he has got to understand that just surrendering and having this trust in Hashem, and in this way he is able to function at his best, and he is able to advise Paro and impress Paro. Paro is completely bowled over by Yosef, who he'll say, "There's no one like you, and I'm going to entrust you with absolutely everything." And this is born of the Bitachon that he had to cultivate, that he learned, and from all of these experiences. And I pray that we are all able to have this bitachon, that we are all able to achieve this state of being, this state of mind, as we learn from our ancestor Yosef, and we use it to help us in all of the challenges that we face at this point and always. And in this way, we are going to be the best people that we possibly can. And there's a very beautiful posuk that's from Eo, from the book of Job, and it is Kate's Som Lachoshech. And that means that he puts an end to the darkness. And this is quoted in Bereshis Rabbah, and when we're reading our Sedra of Miketz, and also tying up the themes of Hanukkah, that the darkness, all sorts of darknesses that we are experiencing, and the darkness that we are experiencing as a nation at the moment, that we, please God, look forward with our bitachon to have that confidence and trust in Hashem, that the times of darkness and challenge will pass, and we will be able to radiate light. We will be able to bask in the light of Hashem and radiate that light outwards into a world that is going to be full of light. Kate's Som Lachoshech, he puts an end to darkness. Thank you very much for listening, and may all our heartfelt prayers for the release and the safe and speedy release of all the hostages, and the safety and the success of all the Chayalim. Please God, all those prayers should be answered. Thank you very much for listening.